الأشياء السلبية برا. Get that negative energy out on the paper. It's safe here. It's on the paper. It's not outside.
Saudi Arabia, known for having one of the most conservative governments in the world, has adopted a compassionate, creative approach to combating Islamic extremism. At a rehabilitation center housed in a former holiday resort outside Riyadh, Dr. Awad Aliami is using art therapy as part of a program to reform ex-jihadists. These men have all been involved with militant Islamic extremism. They've done prison time for their crimes, and now they're just a step away from freedom. Men who once set out to fight the infidel are now working out their problems with paper and crayons. Dr. Aliami learned about this innovative approach while studying in the United States.
It's not revolutionary 100% because my colleagues in England, Canada, in the States, they're doing some art in jail, but not with my type of population.
Yeah, this is
Exactly.
what's new. I mean, these
Yes.
are guys who couldn't have cared less about
Yes.
art.
Do you think
Might
it
have
was
blown
easy?
it up.
Nancy, do you think it was easy for me to start the program with them? No, I was scared to death to start with them. Really, because I had that idea that these are criminals. They blow up buildings and stuff.
Mohammed Al-Sharaf arrived at the center 1 month ago after serving a 1-year prison term for joining the insurgency in Iraq.
They want me just to make a explosion, just explosion, not to fight.
Explosion.
Explosion.
They wanted you to be a suicide bomber?
Yeah.
What was it you thought you could do to help?
Just to kill American, to get them outside Iraq or outside our countries.
In order to be accepted into the rehabilitation program, inmates must demonstrate willingness to reconsider their extremist views. Al-Sharaf now says he was wrong to go to Iraq and that he's sorry. He says he's found heaven on earth here. In his picture, the sun rises out of the ground.
يضيء العالم. طيب ما هو المستفاد منه في حياتنا اليوم؟
طبعا المستفاد منه إننا نمشي على خطى على هدى على نور.
على هدى.
He's a 30-something guy.
Yes.
He told me he went looking for Al-Qaeda.
Yes, for me,
in Iraq.
for me, he's still a kid. He still have a simple mind. It's like something. Hey guys, wake up! Smell the coffee. Life is not like this.
The participants in this program are part of a generation that grew up with stories of heroic Saudi militants who joined the 1980s fight against the Soviets in Afghanistan, a fight their country sanctioned. Since then, Saudi Arabia has been one of the world's leading exporters of jihadists. In the 9/11 attacks, 15 of the 19 hijackers were from Saudi Arabia. In May 2003, Saudi jihadists hit home with suicide bombings targeted at compounds where foreign nationals lived. Over 30 people were killed, including 7 Americans. This triggered a crackdown on homegrown jihadists. Hundreds were arrested. And inside Saudi prisons, authorities quietly introduced the idea of psychological and religious counseling for militants.
هل ممكن واحد يقول ليش مهم؟
The rehab center opened 4 years later. Today, the former jihadists are in religious class learning about the proper meaning of jihad. The word jihad is commonly translated as struggle, but interpretations vary widely. Jihad can simply mean the internal struggle to become a better Muslim. But militant extremists understand jihad as a call to arms. The Saudi government may sanction violence to further the cause of Islam. But here they're told if they want to fight, they need the permission of the king and their parents. So Ahmed al-Shaya broke the rules when he traveled to Iraq to fight against the American occupiers, a jihad not sanctioned by the Saudi government. He shouldn't even be alive because al-Shaya tried, unwittingly he claims, to carry out a suicide bombing. Al-Shaya was thrown out of the truck when it blew up outside the Jordanian embassy in Baghdad at Christmas in 2004. He killed 12 civilians. And now you have
the deaths of 12 civilians on your conscience?
إن شاء الله مو بذمتي في ذمة اللي فعلوا الشيء هذا.
I asked Dr. Aliami about the way Al-Shaya lets himself off the hook for killing 12 people by claiming that he was essentially a pawn in someone else's plan.
It still haunts the person for a long time, maybe forever, and he's trying to maintain a balance to pay back for what he's done by being involved into educating young kids.
Allahu Akbar.
The Saudi government regards these former jihadists as naive, saying they're worth a second chance as long as they have no Saudi blood on their hands. Al-Shaya is one of the first rehab graduates. He now speaks publicly about his experience in Iraq, warning others against waging unsanctioned jihad.
وتعلمت منها وأحب إني أعلم الناس.
This is our third day at the rehab center, and today we're going to meet guys who've been brought here from Guantanamo Bay. How long were you there?
For 6 years. Long time.
Long time.
Yeah.
Juma al-Dawsari was arrested on the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan in late 2001 and was released without charge in the summer of 2007. Relieved to be back in Saudi Arabia, he says he brought home a lesson from Guantanamo.
You have to talk to people, to convince people to use the logic, not prisons, not torture. Yeah, and that's the only solution.
At the end of what's usually a 2-month stay at the rehabilitation center, the Saudi government eases the transition back into society by helping to pay for cars, apartments, and even weddings. Anything that might encourage the men to lead stable lives instead of turning back to violence.
By the way, I am romantic.
Ooh, tell me about that.
Yeah.
Juma al-Dawsari wasted no time. He was married soon after his graduation from rehab in December 2007, and a baby is due in the spring of 2009. Dr. Awad Aliami reports that 208 men have completed the program, and only a handful, about 5%, have relapsed, trying to make contact with other militants. But the program is still new. I asked Dr. Aliami how he knows the participants in the program are for real.
How do you know they're not pretending?
Well, you will never be able to be sure, but from my past experience with patients, patients with post-traumatic stress disorders, with depression, with schizophrenia, with phobias, it works.